Okay, so you have to mix on the rough surface of the glass sheet and with a metal spatula, not with the plastic one. One drop should be enough. If you want to be sure to have enough material, especially at the beginning, and it's not that easy to work with that, you can use 2 drops. In the office, when you will treat patients, you cannot place back the powder. Okay, so the powder you have taken off from the box. If you don't use all of it, then it will go to the trash. And here in the lab you can do it. Okay, you remember it has quite an acidic pH. That's why we are doing the so-called fractionated mixing, which means that a small amount of powder should be mixed with all of the fluid. We should leave it there approximately for a minute. Then the pH will increase, will go to the neutral direction, and after that 1 minute you can mix the rest of the powder.
What will be happen? Like, what's the mechanism that increases the pH?
The acid-base reaction will start. And if the acid-base reaction starts, then you will have a salt and water as a result of the reaction, and that's how the amount of the acid will be decreased.
The powder is more basic, right?
Yeah. Because the powder is metal oxide, and with water it will create basic material. Okay. You have to be sure that there are no particles left in the material. Not much. Especially that all these materials, I think they have already expired. So that's why we have a little bit less working time, and we have quite a high temperature, which is again will increase the working time. The other thing that as soon as you have mixed it, you should ask your assistant to clean the spatula and the glass sheet too, because if it will set to the instrument, it's going to be quite difficult to remove. Please clean it. First with the paper, then with water.
You were adding the powder to make it harder? Or?
You mix it with the liquid until you get this consistency. Then with the spatula you apply it to the cavity. You can use the ball, or if you can find smaller Williams that fits to the cavity, you can use it to adjust. We only want to have it on the pulpal walls, not on the side walls. Of course, it will happen that you place the material, that you will have it on the side wall. You can remove it later. At the beginning, before it sets, you can remove it with the probe. After setting, you can remove it with the burr. It's not a problem. We only have to be sure that at the end there is no material on the side walls, only on the pulpal walls. Because if you leave it on the side walls, then you will decrease the tooth surface, which is quite important for the adhesion for the composite filling. Try to have as smooth surface as possible. Eszter, azt nekem valami fúrót, azt a kisméretű fordított kúpot, szerintem az lesz a legjobb. Így jár.
How thick it has to be?
Hát valamelyik fúrós dobozban biztos
Ilyen
van.
milliméterkofta.
Akármilyen pici fordított kúpot, csak sima legyen a felszíne, ne gömb legyen.
How thick it has to be?
Can you
The
clean it,
optimal.
Sorry?
How thick the base filling has to be?
In this case, because we have around 2 millimeter deep cavities, it shouldn't be more than half a millimeter if it's possible. Because then you will have still 1.5 millimeter for the composite. It should be enough. On the other hand, because it doesn't really have good mechanical properties, try to have it as thin as possible.
I have this one if you want.
For removing, I think you should prefer some type of smaller ones. Because they are easier to work with.
Now you just want to smooth it, or?
First
Not
I
from
want to
the wall.
remove it from the sidewalls. Because as I told you, I don't want to have it on the sidewalls, I just want to have it on the pulpal walls. And if you have no more material on the sidewalls, then you should make some movements.
Così che
to try
mi
to
stai ma
try
lo
to
lasci da.
try to make it smooth and
One point five.
No, vabbè.
okay, so this is for the zinc phosphate cement. It just should look something like this. Maybe just more smooth. More or less it has to be something like this. Okay, the other one, GIC, is a bit more difficult to work with. From GICs, so for the phosphate cement, we have only one type, we have the liquid and powder, and it depends on you how you mix it. If you mix it with more liquid and less powder, then you will have more flowable material that you can use for luting. If you add less liquid or more powder, then you will have more dense material that you can use for base fillings or temporary fillings or core build-ups. For the GIC, we have a bit different story, because for GIC, for example, this one, and sometimes it's present on the box, but not for the, oh, it's here. So it says that it's radiopaque posterior glass iron restorative cement. Restorative cement means you can use it for fillings and base fillings. We have other types of GICs where you can read it's a luting cement. So we have a core build-up and the filling material GIC, and we have a luting GIC. And it's important because if you want to use this core build-up or restorative GIC for luting, it would mean that you would add more liquid or less powder and mix it to more flowable consistency. But it's not good, because then you will have a different physical and mechanical properties for the material that you are supposed to have. So that's why for restorations, temporary fillings, permanent fillings, core build-ups, you should use the restorative cement, and for diluting you should use diluting cement. You have to keep the mixing ratios. If you don't keep them, then you won't have the result that you should have. Okay, So you have to buy at least 2 different types of GICs. This one is restorative cement, so we can use it for base filling.
In which situation we use it for the luting?
If you want to make a cementation of crowns, for example, or inlays.
Then we can use it also as a base material on like the top of the luting GIC?
No, so if you use a luting GIC, it means that you have, for example, a prepared tooth. You want to fix a crown on it. So you don't need a base filling. So you can use the luting or the restorative, not both of them. Okay, sometimes if you make a core build-up from a GIC and you want to make an inlay on that core build-up, then you can use a luting cement on top of it, but it's not a really usual situation. Okay, so you can choose if you wish to make filling, direct restoration, then you will use this restorative type. If you will use, if you want to do a crown or an inlay, then you will use the luting cement for the fixing it. Yes, and one more thing. For this one, at least theoretically, we have small tools.
Proszę do